Is the Porsche Cayenne the best high-end luxury SUV that you can buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. In this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at the 2023 Porsche Cayenne lineup and tell you everything that you need to know about this SUV in terms of its design, performance, reliability, and value for money. I'm also going to compare the Cayenne against other similar high-end luxury SUVs to find out which one is the best one to buy. So to find out everything there is to know about the 2023 Cayenne, make sure to stick around until the end of this video. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice designed to help you, the consumer. So let's start off with a quick overview of the Cayenne lineup for 2023. The Cayenne is available in 2 basic body styles. You have the standard Cayenne SUV as well as the Cayenne Coupe, which has more of a sportback design with a sloping rear roof for a sportier look. The differences between them are essentially cosmetic, so it really comes down to which body style you prefer, although it is worth mentioning that the Cayenne Coupe does have reduced rear visibility and a little bit less cargo room, so it is less practical than the regular Cayenne. On top of the 2 different body styles, you also have a wide range of different drivetrains to choose from. The base version of the Cayenne gets a turbocharged V6 engine producing 335 horsepower with an 8-speed automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive. Now, even though this one is the base model, it still produces a surprising amount of power and should be adequate for the majority of Cayenne buyers. But for those who do want more performance, you can also go for the Cayenne S or the GTS, which use a twin turbocharged V6 engine producing between 434 horsepower and 454 horsepower. You can also go for the Cayenne E-Hybrid, which is a plug-in hybrid version of the same drivetrain. And finally, if you really want to go wild with performance, you could go for the Cayenne Turbo, which uses a twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 engine. The Cayenne Turbo is available in the standard version, the SC Hybrid, and the one that I'm test driving here, the top-of-the-line Cayenne Turbo GT. Now, all Cayenne Turbos produce an insane amount of power, but if you go for the Turbo GT, you're going to get around 640 horsepower, which is roughly the same number that you get from the Lamborghini Urus SUV. So what exactly does 640 horsepower feel like in an SUV? Well, let's find out. That is absolutely incredible. It is mind-blowing that an SUV can accelerate this quickly. That's 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, which is just as fast as a lot of high-end supercars. It is absolutely mind-blowing that an SUV can accelerate this quickly, and not only is it incredibly fast, but you also get a very violent and loud exhaust note to go along with it, which you can put into a quiet mode thanks to the active exhaust system. And there's also a wide range of other performance upgrades that you get as well, including with the adaptive suspension, the chassis management system, as well as with the braking and the tires, all of which adds up to a fully track-capable SUV. Now, as impressive as the Turbo GT is, and don't get me wrong, this is incredibly impressive, you don't necessarily need to have 640 horsepower in order to appreciate the performance of the Cayenne. You could easily go for the Cayenne S or the GTS, which, with around 430 to 450 horsepower, still give you amazing performance. Whichever drivetrain option you go with though, you are going to get an incredibly well-handling SUV, which is one of the main attractions of the Cayenne. Now, because this is a performance SUV, it is worth mentioning that the Cayenne does ride a little bit on the stiff side. So if you are looking for a luxury SUV with an incredibly comfortable, smooth ride, this might not necessarily be the best option for you. If you are looking for that pillowy soft ride quality, then you would probably be happier behind the wheel of something like the Mercedes GLE, which does have an incredibly smooth ride. Now, that's not to say that the Cayenne is a harsh riding SUV, because it definitely isn't. This is still a fairly comfortable ride, but there is a slight firmness to it, which is to be expected from an SUV with this kind of handling. And the handling is quite impressive. It's just amazing how you can toss this thing into corners, and it's able to handle it without any issues at all. It feels very sharp and balanced, and there's just very little body roll. It's just impressive how an SUV that's this big and heavy is able to handle this well. I honestly think this thing would have no trouble keeping up with a lot of sports cars, which is quite impressive. And again, I don't think you necessarily need to go for the top-of-the-line turbo if you want to have a very impressive performance machine. You could just go for the Cayenne GTS or even the S with a lot of the same chassis upgrades, the brakes and the suspension, so you're still going to have a very capable and great handling SUV. And the real appeal of the Cayenne is the fact that you have this amazing performance machine, but one that also doesn't really sacrifice anything when it comes to technology, luxury, or interior space. The build quality of the interior is absolutely outstanding. You have very high-end materials and finishes, and everything is just put together extremely well and feels very rock solid. There's none of the creakiness or squeaks and rattles that you'd find in a lot of the plastic trim bits and a lot of other similar SUVs. Porsche is really known for its high quality and attention to detail, and you really get that with the Cayenne. And not only does it feel incredibly luxurious, but you also have lots of impressive tech too. The infotainment system, for example, is excellent. It has a great user interface, it's fairly straightforward to use, and it has very sharp looking graphics. Below the touchscreen, you do have a gloss black panel which has capacitive touch controls, which are a little bit finicky to use, and they do show quite a bit of dust and fingerprints when they do get dirty, but it does work fairly well. You also have that really nice classic Porsche gauge cluster with screens on both sides of the tach, and you have a great feeling steering wheel too. And there's plenty of interior space and storage space in the Cayenne, whether you go for the standard model or the coupe. This is quite a spacious SUV and is more than practical enough for a lot of families that need to carry a lot of stuff. And as with all Porsche models, there's a lot of customizability with the Cayenne lineup too. There's a wide range of different color combinations and options, and you can even go for the paint to sample or PTS option, where you can have a Cayenne built exactly how you want it in the color combination that you want. The extent of the customizability is something that you don't necessarily get with other luxury SUVs, which is something that makes Porsche stand apart. Of course, you do pay for all of it. The Cayenne is quite expensive, even when compared to other similar high-end luxury SUVs. For me though, I think the sweet spot in the Cayenne lineup is either the Cayenne S or the GTS. With the Cayenne S, for example, you get around 100 more horsepower than the base model, but the price tag is only around $10,000 higher, which means that for only a 10% higher price, you get a 30% increase in performance, which is pretty good value. And I think if you go for a strategically optioned Cayenne S or GTS, you are going to have a really appealing SUV, one that's also a lot better than most of its competitors. The main rivals to the Cayenne include the Mercedes GLE, the BMW X5, and the Range Rover Sport, among a few others. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the Mercedes GLE might be the one to go for if you're looking for the absolute best ride quality and want that pillowy soft ride more than anything else. In terms of performance, ride, and handling, the BMW X5 is probably the closest competitor to the Cayenne. But even though the X5 is a very impressive SUV, as is the GLE and the Range Rover Sport, none of them are quite as well-rounded as the Cayenne. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what it is about the Cayenne that just makes it such a more attractive SUV. It's probably a combination of the design, the amazingly luxurious interior, the performance, the handling, and even the prestige of the Porsche brand. Put it all together and you have a really appealing package. And the other thing that's really appealing about the Porsche brand is its reputation for quality and reliability, far more so than any other comparable European brand. Although brands like BMW and Mercedes are fine to lease for a few years, they do have a reputation for having extremely high repair costs and below average reliability as they age. Which is not exactly the same situation with Porsche. Now yes, they are known for having very high repair costs too as they age, but they are also known for having better build quality and generally better reliability up to that point. Now, if you are the type of person that's more sensitive to repair costs and are planning to buy an SUV to hold on to for upwards of 10 years or even longer, then even a Porsche is probably not the best fit for you. You'd probably be much happier behind the wheel of something like a Lexus RX, but it really isn't the same type of SUV. This is a much higher quality SUV and a higher prestige in terms of luxury. So in the class that this car competes in, I really think this is one of the best options on the market. So let me know what you think of the 2023 Porsche Cayenne. Would you take one over other similar high-end luxury SUVs? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other car videos by checking out these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.